So I've been using the Xbox Series X for the past 3 years, and in this video I am going to share my experiences of using it, and I'll also let you know if I think that you should still consider buying it in 2025. I'll also share with you the reason why I chose the Xbox Series X and not the PS5, and if really I regret making that buying decision. So let's get to it. How's it going, everyone? My name is Musa Nziane and I am a South African tech YouTuber. So if you like tech and other cool reviews, be sure to subscribe to this channel and also follow me on other social media platforms. So let's start with why I chose the Xbox Series X and not the PS5. Well, I've always been an Xbox gamer and the decision almost came naturally because I was upgrading from the Xbox One and I've also had an Xbox 360 before. However, when it comes to this generation of consoles, I did actually give the PS5 a consideration. I did also wanted to get the PS5. So what I did was I went and looked at the specs for both consoles and the pros and cons. And on paper, it looked like the Xbox Series X, at least for the first consoles that were first released from this generation, the Xbox Series X was a bit more ahead. So it was powerful, it had a bit more storage. So it seemed on paper the Series X was actually winning because it had a bit more features. And I also did consider the looks of the two consoles. And when I checked the Series X, I just loved the simplicity and the minimalist look about it, and it didn't change a lot. So it was just another box. So I kind of liked that look. Whereas with the PS5, it was a totally different look. And at the time when I looked at both of them, I felt the Series X made a bit more sense. Some of these features where the Xbox Series X was a bit ahead, I am going to talk about as we continue with the video. So also things such as backwards compatibility, the Xbox Series X was just ahead. It had a way bigger library and it could allow you to play more games compared to the PS. In fact, over 98% of the older games you can still play on the Xbox Series X. Plus I had some collection on the Xbox One and also the Xbox 360. So there are still some games that I still wanted to revisit and replay. Some of the games, they get remastered. Some of them, they get updates where they play now at higher frame rates and stuff like that. For example, recently I was playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which also got like a higher frame rate. So those kind of things, that's what I was actually looking at. So in terms of value, because I've always been in the Xbox side of things, it made more sense to actually get an Xbox. And also again, you look at the platform, you look at Xbox Game Pass. Game Pass had a way bigger library compared to PlayStation Plus or gaming subscription. So that's why I also decided to continue with that. So this Xbox, I just loved how it looks, the simplicity. It looked a bit more premium. So at the top there, you can see that it has some sort of a green LED light, but that is actually not a light. That is just paint on the inside, but it just looks cool. It gives it this effect where it looks like it's an LED. But overall, I just kind of liked this design. Even when you touch it, the feel on it, it just feels a bit more premium. It's like a matte finish. However, something to make note of is that the Xbox Series X is not highly noticeable compared to the PS5. So because the Xbox Series X is minimal and it's just this black box, other people just mistaken it for a subwoofer or just another device, but they don't always identify it as the Xbox Series X. Whereas with the PS5, it's very much noticeable. As soon as you walk into someone's living room and you see it there, you just immediately know what it is. Also, I think this goes down to the fact that when the PS5 was released, it was released in 2020. I think it was during COVID, during lockdown, everyone was glued into their screens. And I saw even people that were not gamers or into gaming, there were some memes flying around about how expensive the PS5 is, and everyone knew that there is a PS5 and they knew what it looked like. Whereas with the Xbox Series X, which launched earlier, only gamers, I must say, sometimes some PS people were not even aware, but it was mostly gamers that were actually talking about it and not so much everyone. So I think Sony did actually kind of capitalize on this, and their marketing strategy there was actually very good. And everyone knows exactly what a PS5 is. So if you're someone who like people to notice the kind of cool stuff that you have around your house, the Xbox Series X is probably not the one thing. As much as they cost the same amount. People might just look at it and not really know that it's actually something that actually costs around 12,000 rand, just like the PS5. So they might think that it's probably a cheaper console or anything like that. But for me, that doesn't matter. I'm always looking at what makes me happy, the value that I'm getting. Yeah, that's what I look at. As much as I lean towards looks and aesthetics, but the main factor for any decision is never around if someone is going to notice it or not. Now let's talk the storage. So in terms of the storage, the first consoles that we released, the Xbox Series X had 1 terabyte, and that's one of the reasons why I opted for the Xbox Series X, because the PlayStation, the first version of the PS5 at the time, only had around 820 gig of storage, and I felt like that was not going to be enough because part of that storage has to go to the OS and gaming data, and at the end of the day you find that you don't have enough storage. I mean, you look at the new Call of Duty games, they take around 300 gig of the storage, so what will be left after that? So that was one of the reasons why I opted for the Xbox. Also, the other thing that I like about the Xbox is that from the first versions, it was easy to expand and extend your storage. So you can get this expansion SSD card that you just slot in at the back of the console, and that gives you an extra 1 terabyte. I've been meaning to buy that, but I haven't bought one. That is because it is a little bit expensive. I think the last time I checked, it was around 4,000 rands, if I'm not mistaken. So I just felt like it's a bit expensive, but I would definitely do with that because I find myself every now and then having to uninstall games so that I can make space for newer games, and you find that I haven't finished some of the games. Some of them I just want to revisit and stuff like that. So storage wise, I'd say the first 2 years I was okay, but over time, when newer games keep on coming up, when games keep on getting bigger and bigger, when I start recording clips and stuff like that, you find that the 1 terabyte is no longer enough, but initially it was good enough. And this is also one of the reasons why I didn't go with the Series S, because the Series S only comes with 500 gig. I will definitely tell you that it is not enough. Now let us talk about the controllers. So in terms of the controllers, I've always preferred the Xbox controller because it is a little bit bigger. When you compare it with the DualSense, though this is the older DualSense, the PS4 DualSense, that was a little bit light and a little bit smaller, so it didn't fill my hands the way that I would have loved, or the way that I preferred. So the Xbox controller always did that. And if you look at the Series X controller, really it did not change much. It's still the same controller as the Xbox One controller. They just maybe changed the material a little bit, the feel on it, and then added one button, one share button, and then they also revised that the digital buttons. But besides that, it's still pretty much the same controller. So in terms of that, there wasn't a lot that Xbox changed on there, but I guess it's because they did get some feedback and everyone was happy with the way it works. And that means that it still does not come with rechargeable batteries. You still need to use Duracell batteries, which for some people, they don't prefer this way of doing things. For me, I think I'm okay with using Duracell batteries or using rechargeables because there's advantage of each. So the advantage of Duracell batteries is that you can use it for a good 3 to 6 months without having to get new batteries. So the batteries last long, and it means you never run out of batteries in between gaming sessions. But the downside is that you have to buy Duracell batteries. So maybe in a year you have to buy a pack of 12 that I think you can use for like a year and a half. Well, this depends on how much gaming you do, but that's the downside, is that you constantly have to buy these batteries. While with rechargeables, obviously you can always charge it for free. You don't really have to, or you use electricity, but you get what I mean. So you don't really have to keep on buying Duracell batteries. But the downside is that the rechargeable batteries don't last as long as the Duracell batteries. So that's the other thing to look at. So there wasn't too much innovation happening on the controller side of things. And speaking of innovation, the PS side of things, the new DualSense, that's the one that got a lot of innovation. First of all, they bumped the size up. At least it looks bigger now and it feels a little bit heavy. So now that one, I'd say it now fits into what I consider a comfortable controller. And also it comes with some LEDs, some nice aesthetics, and it also comes with built-in speakers and also some haptic feedbacks. So there you really get a lot of these nicer things that you get, but obviously those come at the cost of battery life, because the LEDs are always on, the speaker and the haptics and all of that, so the battery dies out quickly. However, those are nice to have features, which I'll deep dive on my upcoming review of the PS5, because I had a PS5 during the December holidays. So I am working on a review for that. And if you want to see that review, be sure that you look on the description below. When it's ready, you'll find a link there and you can watch it. So let's talk graphics and performance of the Series X. And I must say, this is a very powerful machine. So far, it is handling games very well. It actually comes with an 8-core CPU, 12 teraflops of GPU, and also 16 gigs of DDR6 RAM. It also supports 4K gaming, HDR, and also 120 FPS. So in terms of performance and graphics, really, I cannot fault this machine. I actually look at it years later and I'm like, wow, I'm impressed by the power and the performance of these things and the graphics as well. If the games are good and they're making use of the power, really this machine has no issues. It handles the games very well. It also has some good hardware, ray tracing, and that actually enhances the game. So games such as Forza Motorsport, if you enable the ray tracing part of things and prioritize graphics, you also get to see deeper blacks, you get to see different shades, sunlight, and different weather conditions. It's actually very good graphical experience. It also supports hardware accelerated ray tracing. It also has quick resume and smart delivery. So what quick resume does is you can pause the game at any point, you can minimize it, jump into another game, play the other game, then you can always go back to the earlier game and you'll find it exactly right where you left it on the same scene, and that is very quick. So that's why they call it quick resume. So that saves you time, like the reload time and stuff like that, and that is a very good experience. And at the time when I bought the Series X, this feature was only available on the Series X, and it was one of the things that made me lean towards the Xbox Series X. So some games don't support this, but others they do. But those that do support this, which mostly I find that is the more open world games, so for those specific games, you'll definitely enjoy this feature. So let's speak game library and subscription. So the Xbox Game Pass has been one of the best value subscriptions that I've seen. Over the past 3 years, I've played a lot of games, including Halo Infinite, Forza Motorsport, Forza Horizon, Starfield, and recently I've played Indiana Jones, and we also got Call of Duty Black Ops 6 on day one. If you can combine all of those games and look at how much I would have paid just to buy all of those games, I would have paid almost 10,000 rand. But I got to play all of them via the Xbox Game Pass. So really, I am getting the value. I just don't have all the time in the world, but there are more games that are available that I would love to play that I can play using this subscription. So in terms of subscription, I'm happy with that. The library is big. They keep on refreshing it, adding newer games. And there are some nice games from Bethesda as well. So now we can play a lot of the Fallout titles. We can play a lot of the Halo titles. So you can play all of the older ones. And also I've seen now there's also Far Cry. But because I'm a big fan of Far Cry, I've always bought it way earlier. So I'm not really benefiting from that. But the older Far Cry games are also available now on Game Pass. You get your EA as well. So this is if you go with the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. So the subscription is top tier. Also in terms of backwards compatibility, like I've mentioned, I have a collection of older games from my Xbox Series X and Xbox One. So I can still play those games. There are some that I'm revisiting. So that is also a cool feature because most games I can actually play. You just slot in the disc and that's it. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please be sure to hit the like button and also consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Let's continue. So, should you consider buying the Xbox Series X in 2025? Well, the answer is yes, you should definitely consider buying one. It is actually currently still the most powerful and the best Xbox that you can get out there. There is actually a newer version that came with a 2TB option. If you can get that one, just go for it. I'm not sure if it is available right now in South Africa, but I know that there is a new one that it came out that has an internal SSD of 2TB. So I would advise that you consider going for that one. However, if you've always been a PlayStation person, you may find that you will miss playing your exclusives and stuff like that. So my advice would be, if you want to try out Xbox Series X right now, you will definitely enjoy it. It also comes with its own exclusives. However, you can consider keeping your current PlayStation. So if it's a PS4 or a PS4 Pro or whatever it is, you can keep that. Even if it's a PS5, you can keep that, don't sell it. Then you can also buy the Xbox Series X. Get the best of both worlds. This is actually something that my other friend did. He kept his Xbox One and then he went and buy the PS5. So now he's getting to enjoy best of both worlds, which is something that I never thought of at the time, but it's something that I would have loved to do. That kind of makes sense. So I think for my next upgrade, I'm likely to go with the PS6 and keep my current Xbox Series X. So I can still enjoy the Xbox exclusives like your Halo, Forza Motorsport, and I can also enjoy the exclusives on PlayStation side of things. But also I just feel like PlayStation is always a bit more innovative around their hardware, but maybe this is because PlayStation makes more sales in terms of hardware, so they have to constantly deliver on that, whereas Microsoft don't look like their hardware is actually their main line. It seems like they rely more on the studios and the platforms and the game sales and all the other stuff. So whereas with Sony, I think it's more balanced to them. So I think that's why they actually are innovative when it comes to the PlayStation. So that's what I think you should do. Keep whatever you have, try out the other one. However, if you're 100% sure that all you want is God of War, Last of Us, Spider-Man, all of those PlayStation exclusives, then definitely go with PlayStation, because I think you'll get more value on the PlayStation. But all in all, 90% of the games are the same. If you like Call of Duty, you'll play Call of Duty on any console. So if you don't have any of the exclusive that you specifically want to play, then just go with the console that you like the design of a lot. If you look at the PS Slim and you like that and that looks good to you, or the PS Pro that looks good to you, go with that, because you're gonna be looking at this thing every day and it must to some level make you happy when you look at it, you know. So I think go with what you prefer. So what are some of the things that I do not like about the Xbox Series X? Well, when it comes to the UI, I don't really like the Xbox UI. I feel like it's not well polished. It's almost the same as Windows. Windows is not really known for its UI. Also, the Xbox controller, I just feel like they could have gone a little bit more innovative. At least add haptics, add only haptic feedbacks, you know. Ignore the LEDs for now. At least add one of these things that you find on the DualSense, you know. So those are some of the things that I wish that Xbox or Microsoft could have done better on. And do I regret going for the Xbox Series X? Definitely not. I don't regret. I'm enjoying this console. I also love the fact that I bought the console early after it was first released, and 2-3 years later, you look at the value of these things, they actually cost even more now, and I got it a little bit cheaper. So when I got it in 2021, and I think it was going for 12,000. Also the PS5 was going for 12,000. And it was a bundle which also had Cyberpunk. But if you are to look now, those kind of bundles, they go for like 15K. So the price just keeps on going up for these things. And that's it. We've come to the end of this video. This is my review of the Xbox Series X. Let me know if you are using the Xbox Series X, what are some of the things that you are enjoying, and if you are considering moving to PS, and if you're using PS, also let me know what was the reason why you opted for PlayStation 5 and not the Xbox Series X. Don't forget to look on the description to watch my other videos and my other reviews. And if you enjoyed the video, of course, do the right thing. Hit a like, consider subscribing to this channel for more content like this. I'll catch you on the next one.